7 signs, you've got the rare duality power of a dark and light chosen one. There is no light without shadow, and no psychic wholeness without imperfection. Carl Jung. Welcome to Spiritual Wisdom. If you've ever felt like you embody both divine purity and fierce truth, a calming presence and a force that can shake the room, then this message is for you. Today, we're diving into the 7 hidden signs that reveal the rare duality power of a dark and light chosen one, a soul capable of both healing and dismantling illusion. As you watch, ask yourself, which of these signs resonate deeply with your experience? And if you feel that powerful dual frequency rising within you, comment below. I embrace my duality to affirm your path and connect with others who share this extraordinary calling. Let's begin the journey into the mystery within you. 1. Healer and destroyer, purifier of truth. There is a rare kind of chosen one whose very existence challenges what the world thinks spirituality is supposed to look like. Carl Jung once said, "In all chaos there is a cosmos, in all disorder a secret order." And this perfectly reflects the dual nature inside you. You carry both the light that comforts and the darkness that corrects. You are the healer who nurtures wounds back into wholeness, and simultaneously the destroyer who cuts through illusions with surgical truth. People come to you thinking they want comfort, but what they really need is awakening, and you give them exactly that. You choose transformation over temporary peace, evolution over ego soothing. You represent the kind of spiritual awakening that does not just hold hands, it flips tables when necessary. This ability to comfort and cut, to bless and burn, is not cruelty, but divine responsibility. You destroy what is false because you love what is real. You know that healing requires honesty, and truth is often the sharpest blade. You are the purifier of truth where you walk. Masks fall off. Where you speak, lies lose their power. Some fear your presence because they sense that their illusions will not survive you. But the souls who are ready to grow feel deeply drawn to you because you carry the energy of rebirth. You hold sacred space for transformation, guiding others through darkness, not by pretending it isn't there, but by showing them how to walk through it with courage. Light without strength can be naive, and darkness without love can be destructive, but you are the union of both. You destroy the illusions that keep people small, and you rebuild from a place of authenticity. You do not break people. You break what is breaking them. You burn away what cages the soul so that the true self can rise like a phoenix from the ashes. And even if someone curses you in the moment for the discomfort you bring, they later thank you for the freedom you gave them. This duality makes you misunderstood by many. The world is far more comfortable with polite spirituality, the kind that avoids conflict and prioritizes being liked. But you are not here to be liked. You are here to awaken. You do not soften your truth to protect egos. You do not pretend everything is fine when it is not. You are the kind of person who would rather deliver a painful truth than a sweet lie. That alone makes you a revolutionary force in a society addicted to comfort. You carry the storm and the sanctuary inside you. You can be silent like a gentle sunrise, and you can be thunder when the moment demands it. But every action, whether soft or fierce, comes from the same place. Love aligned with truth. You are the living reminder that growth is rarely gentle. Spirituality that never challenges you will never transform you. And spiritual awakening is not just light. It is the courage to face the dark, master it, and use its strength to protect what is pure. If you recognize the duality within you, the power to heal, and the courage to destroy illusions, claim it now. Comment below, "I purify with truth," to affirm your rare spiritual strength and inspire others on this path. 2. Vast emotional range. Sensitivity as signal. Your vast emotional range is not chaos. It is a sacred signal system built into your soul, showing that you are a dark and light chosen one with the rare ability to move from inner stillness to deep grief without collapsing or bypassing what is real. Most people numb themselves or avoid painful feelings, but you are the kind of person who can sit with raw truth and divine peace in the same breath, acknowledging both shadow and light as essential to spiritual development. When heavy emotions rise, you feel them fully, because your sensitivity is not weakness, it is awareness. It reveals what others cannot see, turning every emotion into a message worth listening to. You sense more than your own story. You absorb personal wounds while also picking up the emotional climate of others and even the collective consciousness. You are connected to ancestral memories, karmic echoes, and paths you have not yet walked, but can already feel. Because of this deep interconnection, you often find yourself carrying emotions that came from generations before you, or from a society crying out for healing. This is a high level of spirituality, a reminder that your heart is tuned into frequencies beyond the ordinary. Your intensity is data. It is a bridge between the unseen world and the physical reality you live in. Every strong feeling inside you is a piece of guidance, a clue to the truth, a key that unlocks understanding if you are willing to interpret it. Instead of asking, "Why am I like this?" you begin asking, "What is this feeling trying to tell me?" The moment you shift to that question, your emotions transform into wisdom, and your sensitivity becomes one of your greatest superpowers. What others call overreacting is often your accurate reaction to something they are too numb to feel. You walk into a room and instantly know if the atmosphere is tense or fake. You speak to someone smiling, and you sense the pain behind their eyes. You see the invisible battles people hide. This ability makes you someone others come to for comfort, guidance, or truth, because even if they don't understand how, they feel safe in your presence. But power must be cared for. Intensity without grounding can burn you out, which is why part of your path is learning balance. Learning when to feel deeply and when to step back and release what is not yours. You grow stronger when you create boundaries that honor your sensitivity. You thrive when you surround yourself with people who value depth rather than fear it. Your heart expands to hold both darkness and dawn, and that duality becomes your wisdom. You can sit with someone's grief without drowning in it. You can celebrate someone's joy without envy. You can embrace paradox without forcing a simple answer. This is emotional maturity that only chosen ones develop the ability to remain soft without breaking and remain strong without hardening. So treat every emotion as a sacred teacher. Slow down enough to hear what your heart is telling you. Let your breath guide you back into the body so that no feeling becomes too big to hold. Choose one clear action that honors your truth each time a wave rises. Protect your energy by releasing what does not belong to you. Build daily rituals to cleanse emotional residue and maintain inner clarity. And above all, remember this: Your sensitivity is how spirituality speaks through you, how purpose chooses you, and how the world is healed one honest heart at a time. Your heart feels everything deeply because it was designed to sense the truth. If you're ready to embrace this powerful emotional range within you, comment below. I honor my sensitivity to affirm your strength and inspire others on this path. 3. Belonging to neither, bridging both. You have never belonged fully to the light, nor fully to the darkness, and this is exactly what makes you extraordinary, because you carry both realms within your soul, like two ancient forces learning to coexist in one powerful being. Carl Jung once said, "There is no light without shadow," and your life is proof of that spiritual wisdom. You can stand in the presence of angels while still being unafraid of demons, because you understand that true mastery comes from embracing the whole of who you are. The ones who choose only light may find you overwhelming because your truth exposes the shadows they refuse to confront, while those who choose only darkness may feel threatened by the hope and divinity that remain unshaken inside you. You walk between heaven and the underworld without losing yourself, because you have learned to be your own anchor. You are the reminder that light is not always gentle, and darkness is not always cruel. You show the righteous that purity means nothing without depth, and you show the lost that darkness is just a place waiting for transformation. You are the bridge, the one who can translate the language of the divine and the language of the wounded without judgment. This rare gift was not given. It was earned through heartbreak, betrayal, and a lifetime of being misunderstood by those who only see the world in black and white. You learn to become the gray that holds the truth of both. People often project their fears onto you because your presence forces them to see parts of themselves they have buried. When someone only lives in love and light, you remind them of their suppressed rage and truth. You trigger spiritual awakening in others simply by being who you are. Carl Jung also taught, knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darknesses of other people. That is why you can stand beside someone's pain without being destroyed by it, and you can stand before someone's illusion without being fooled by it. Your soul has walked through places that break most people, yet you rise every time, wiser, sharper, more alive than before. You've been rejected by both extremes because neither side could define you or control you. You carry a holy fire that cleanses and a deep shadow that protects. You can heal with compassion and confront the truth. You can be soft without being weak, powerful without being cruel. And this dual nature makes you the most revolutionary kind of chosen one, the kind who brings light into darkness and brings depth into light. You were trained by life itself to embody both consciously, reminding the light of its depth and the dark of its divinity. You are the bridge no one sees coming until you arrive, and everything changes. 4. Catalyst relationships. No middle ground. Catalyst relationships are the inevitable reality for a dark and light chosen one. Because when your life is rooted in spirituality and authentic spiritual awakening, connections are never neutral. They either elevate the soul or shatter illusions. You are a mirror of truth, not comfort. While others tiptoe around honesty to preserve harmony, you choose revelation, transformation, and depth. Carl Jung once said, The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are, and your presence demands that everyone around you either step into their truth or step aside from your path. People don't just meet you, they collide with you. Your energy exposes false identities, dormant potential, and unresolved wounds all at once, forcing others to confront what they've avoided for years. Some rise beautifully, grateful for the awakening you initiated. Others resist, collapse, or flee, convinced you are the problem when you are actually the catalyst. With you, there is no halfway loving, no pretending, no performance. You refuse to maintain appearances just to keep someone comfortable in their denial. You choose liberation over validation as an activator rather than a savior, pushing growth instead of enabling stagnation. Your relationships are spiritual crucibles, places where the truth gets purified through heat and honesty. You don't heal people by soothing their egos. You heal by revealing what must change. That duality within you, the nurturing light that builds, and the fierce darkness that dismantles lies, ensures that every bond has a purpose. The light in you encourages others to shine, but the darkness in you removes whatever blocks that shine from emerging. One part of you loves gently, the other part demands evolution, and together they create the rarest kind of transformational connection. People either love you intensely or misunderstand you deeply. They sense that being close to you will stretch their spirit, challenge their identity, and break the masks they've worn for too long. When you care about someone, you don't allow them to stay small. You call out their greatness, even when they fear it. You awaken their hidden courage, their buried truth, their sleeping power. And while some see this as a blessing, others see it as a threat, because awakening requires sacrifice for the end of who they were pretending to be. You feel relationships at the soul level. Your intuition instantly reads whether someone is aligned with your growth or trying to drain your energy. Each person who enters your life represents a lesson, a cycle, or a destiny shift. When the connection cannot evolve with you, it naturally falls away, not out of cruelty, but out of divine necessity. Your love is not meant to comfort dysfunction, it is meant to transform it. And anyone who stands near that kind of power must choose, rise or break. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to initiate change. You are here to activate the truth. You are here to be the fire that refines, the shadow that reveals, and the light that heals. The right souls will feel safe in your fire and empowered in your darkness. They will see that being chosen isn't about perfection. It's about awakening others simply by existing. And that is why there can never be neutrality around you. You are the catalyst they never saw coming, and the transformation they desperately needed all along. If this message resonates with your soul, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's keep uncovering the power of catalyst relationships together on this journey of spiritual wisdom. 5. Surgical neutrality. You have the rare gift of surgical neutrality, a form of spiritual clarity where you look at someone and instantly see both their highest divine potential and the distortions created by fear, ego, and past wounds. You do not exaggerate someone's goodness into perfection, nor do you reduce their flaws into a final judgment. You stand at the center, loving with awareness, supporting without losing yourself, and maintaining boundaries that are clean, not fueled by resentment. This is authentic spirituality because it is rooted in truth, not fantasy. And it is advanced spiritual development because it takes courage to see clearly without collapsing into naive idealism or bitter cynicism. Your presence itself becomes a purifier, recalibrating the emotional atmosphere in any room you step into, not because you speak loudly or demand power, but because clarity is a force that silently exposes both truth and illusion. You understand that putting someone on a pedestal is not real love. It is just blindness decorated as devotion, and tearing someone down is not truth. It is fear pretending to be strong. Instead, you see a person's soul and their shadow at the same time. And this balanced vision allows you to love what is beautiful without denying what is broken. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are, Carl Jung said, and you recognize that growth requires honest reflection, not spiritual performance. So you honor the divinity in others without enabling their dysfunction. You refuse to participate in manipulation, projection, or emotional games. You do not let flattery influence you, and you do not let guilt trap you. Those who rely on control or masks feel anxious around you because you are someone who cannot be fooled, not by charm, not by chaos, not by emotional theatrics. People may misinterpret your boundaries as coldness or your silence as a lack of feeling, but the truth is the opposite. You feel deeply, just not foolishly. You can sit with someone's pain without absorbing it. You can witness their patterns without becoming entangled, and you can forgive without allowing continued access. Your heart has grown too wise to confuse unconditional love with unconditional tolerance. This is the evolution that spirituality demands: compassion with discernment, empathy with self-respect, softness with steel. You are a reminder that real love sees everything and still chooses truth, that real leadership does not dominate but elevates, that real connection requires clarity, not comfort lies. In every interaction, your energy communicates a message. I see who you are, and I will meet you there, not above you in fantasy, not below you in judgment, but directly in truth. 6. Solitary blueprint, beyond traditions. When you possess the duality power of both darkness and light, you begin to realize that you were never meant to fit neatly into one belief system or one spiritual category, because your soul was designed with a solitary blueprint that goes beyond traditions. As Carl Jung taught, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. And accepting yourself completely means embracing both the divine radiance and the shadowed truths within you. You are not too much, you are ahead. You carry a frequency the world has not yet fully evolved to understand. In solitude, you do not disappear. You transform. Silence becomes your sacred classroom. Loneliness becomes your initiation. When you are alone, you receive spiritual wisdom that others cannot perceive, because your inner world is constantly weaving light and shadow into a new architecture of wholeness. You are decoding unseen truths, healing ancient wounds, and remembering the power you were always meant to embody. You feel deeply. You notice what others ignore. You sense truth, even when it is hidden beneath layers of illusion. This is not confusion. This is consciousness. Your soul refuses to be confined by one lineage, one tradition, or one way of thinking. You are a synthesis, a bridge between realms, a holder of opposites. You see the beauty of compassion and the necessity of boundaries. You radiate peace, yet carry a fire strong enough to burn deception to the ground. That inner contrast is not a flaw, it is your genius. As Jung also said, there is no light without shadow, and no psychic wholeness without imperfection. You are living proof of that truth. Others may misunderstand you because your energy exposes what they try to hide. Some will call you intense, dramatic, or different simply because they cannot define you. But darkness and light chosen were never meant to be defined. They were meant to redefine what is possible for the human spirit. Ordinary environments cannot contain you. Ordinary purposes cannot fulfill you. You were crafted for the extraordinary. Every time you choose authenticity over approval, truth over comfort, solitude over conformity, you rise into the person you were destined to become. Your solitude is not abandonment, it is refinement. You are being shaped, sharpened, and strengthened into a soul who can hold powerful duality without collapsing under its weight. You can stand in darkness without losing your light, and stand in light without fearing your shadow. So when someone says you are too deep, too emotional, too intense, understand that what they really mean is that your soul is too advanced for their current level of awareness. Your blueprint is rare. Your consciousness is evolving. You do not belong in a box, you belong in the future you are helping to build. As a dark and light chosen one who proves that evolution begins exactly where tradition ends. If you resonate with this path of the lone yet powerful soul, comment below. I walk my own blueprint to affirm your journey. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the wisdom we share together. 7. World Builder Frequency, the third current. You carry a frequency that refuses to choose only light or only darkness, because your power comes from mastering both and merging them into something entirely new, a sovereign third current that breaks every old rule of spirituality. Carl Jung once said, "The most dangerous thing is to confront oneself," and that is exactly what you do every day. You are not here to fit into the world. You are here to rebuild it from the inside out. Your soul does not take sides in a war between good and evil. You generate truth in form, a power that reveals what is real and destroys what is false. While others chase popularity, approval, and belonging, you choose precision, integrity, and alignment, even when it demands sacrifice. You are not driven by what feels good. You are driven by what is true. Your spirituality is not the soft kind that pleases crowds. It is the fierce kind that silently exposes illusions and awakens people who are asleep to their own potential. You do not shout to be heard. Your energy does the speaking. The moment you enter a room, the vibration shifts, because your presence is not passive, it is activating. Those who are ready to lead finally feel their power. Those who are hiding behind masks suddenly feel uncomfortable. And those clinging to their limitations must either rise or remove themselves. You do not force transformation. You simply make it impossible to remain the same. You are a signal tower, transmitting a frequency that only the awakened can detect. Every conversation, every interaction, every decision you make establishes a higher standard of truth. You awaken leaders, build networks of aligned souls, and create invisible architecture for the future of human consciousness. People may underestimate you because they measure influence with numbers, status, and applause. But you measure through transformation, one soul awakening at a time. This is why impact matters more than scale in your world. You could reach millions, and still feel empty if no one changed. But if one person truly wakes up because of you, the mission has already begun. You do not choose the easy way, you choose the exact way. And that exactness becomes a blueprint for those who are meant to follow. You know that validation is irrelevant when destiny is calling. You know that standing alone is better than shrinking to belong. You know that your spiritual awakening is not a performance. It is a revolution happening quietly through every breath you take. Jung taught us that the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are, and you are living that privilege fully, even when the world resists the truth you bring. Your energy is a filter, only the aligned remain. Your life is a stage for authenticity, only the courageous can stay. And your mission is a pulse inside the collective, only the awakened can hear it. You are never here to follow the world that is collapsing. You are here to build the one rising after it. So you keep choosing the truth. You keep walking with precision. You keep leading without needing a spotlight. Because the third current you carry is not for show, it is for evolution. And everyone who crosses your path will eventually realize that you weren't here just to change the game. You were here to write a completely new one. At the end of it all, remember this: your darkness is not a flaw, and your light is not an accident. You were designed to hold both the truth that destroys illusion and the love that restores life. Embrace this duality because it is what makes you powerful, rare, and deeply aligned with your highest purpose. If this message resonated with you, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss our upcoming journeys into deeper spiritual understanding. Until next time, stay grounded in your light and fearless with your shadow, because that's what chosen ones do. Carl Jung's chilling truth: how to recognize fake friends before it's too late. Fake friends are like shadows. They follow you in the sun, but leave you in the dark. This timeless truth reminds us how essential it is to see beyond appearances and protect our peace. In today's world, where masks often replace authenticity, Carl Jung's spiritual wisdom teaches us to recognize the subtle signs of manipulation and emotional deceit before it's too late. As you watch this video, I invite you to reflect. Have you ever felt drained or uneasy around someone who claimed to care? Share your experience in the comments, because awareness is the first step toward freedom and spiritual awakening. Welcome to Spiritual Wisdom, where we uncover the psychology of truth, transformation, and genuine connection. 1. The hidden threat: fake friends over enemies. The real danger in life rarely comes from visible enemies. It comes from the people who pretend to be your allies. They wear smiles that hide envy, speak words that sound like support, but carry the vibration of jealousy. These are the ones who celebrate your rise until your success starts to make them feel small. As Carl Jung once said, "He who causes another to become powerful ruins himself." The false friend doesn't want to see you truly awake. They want you to stay manageable, predictable, and slightly below them. This is why spiritual awakening demands spiritual wisdom: the courage to discern energy beyond appearances, to feel the vibration behind a compliment, and to see who claps only when you're struggling, not when you're soaring. Fake friends reveal themselves not through grand betrayals, but through subtle inconsistencies. When you fail, they are sympathetic. When you win, they grow distant. They gossip under the disguise of concern. They flatter to gain access, and they mirror your dreams only until your light threatens to outshine theirs. Pay attention to how they react to your boundaries, because saying no is the sacred test of any connection. A true friend honors your limits as a sign of self-respect. A false friend twists them into accusations, saying you've changed or become selfish. They can't stand your autonomy because your independence exposes their hidden control. In the realm of spirituality, this is the clash between awakened consciousness and unconscious attachment. You'll also recognize them in their hunger for confusion. They create triangles, whispers, secrets, and private alliances that pull you into emotional politics. They thrive in half-truths because where there is confusion, there is control. When you seek clarity, they accuse you of overreacting. When you speak truth, they call you dramatic. They feed off your emotional energy, leaving you drained, anxious, or uncertain after every interaction. True friends refill your energy. False ones drain it. This difference is not emotional imagination. It is an energetic fact. Every soul you meet leaves an imprint, and your intuition is your spiritual immune system. As you continue your spiritual awakening, the contrast becomes sharper. When you grow, the false friend complains that you've changed. But change is the very proof of life. Spirituality transforms, and transformation threatens those who cling to the old version of you that made them feel superior. They will minimize your insights, mock your new peace, and project their unhealed wounds onto your path. Jung taught that what we reject in ourselves, we project onto others. So their resentment is often an unconscious confession they are envious of your courage to heal. Your evolution exposes their stagnation. To protect your peace, practice sacred discernment. Slowing down the speed of intimacy, true trust grows through consistency, not chemistry. Test every relationship with small boundaries and observe the reaction. Real connection expands under truth. False connection collapses under it. Watch not what people say, but what they repeat. Patterns are the footprints of the soul. Never let charm substitute for history. When gossip arrives, bring it into light. Say, "Let's talk together," and you'll quickly see who thrives in transparency and who depends on shadows. Most importantly, guard your joy. Never feel guilty for shining. Joy is a spiritual frequency that exposes envy. Those who can't stand your happiness were never aligned with your spirit. Protect your light, not by hardening your heart, but by mastering your boundaries. Forgiveness doesn't mean access. You can bless people from afar without letting them feed off your energy. Compassion without wisdom leads to self-betrayal. Wisdom without compassion turns to bitterness. Balance both, and you walk in true spiritual power. Your life is a sacred garden. Real friendship is the seed that roots deep and survives every season. Fake friendship is the weed that climbs fast, blooms beautifully, then suffocates the soil. So prune without guilt. The right people won't ask you to dim your light. They'll shine beside you. Because when two awakened souls meet, there is no competition, only reflection of divine energy. That is the essence of spiritual wisdom. To love deeply, see clearly, and choose consciously who deserves a place in your sacred space. Do you see the truth in this? Comment below with conviction. I choose real souls over fake friends. 2. The Carl Jung view of loyalty. Loyalty isn't moral, It's transactional. People follow power because they benefit from it, not because they believe in you. When their gain disappears, so does their loyalty. Trust should be based on consistent proof, not promises. This truth, seen through Carl Jung's lens, reveals a profound insight into human nature and spirituality. It reminds us that many relationships exist not from genuine connection, but from hidden motives tied to personal gain. In spirituality and spiritual growth, we are asked to awaken to this reality, not to become bitter, but to become wise. Jung often taught that the human psyche wears many masks. What you see is rarely the whole story. Fake friends thrive behind such masks, feeding on energy, opportunity, or influence while pretending to care. Their loyalty is conditional, their affection calculated. You will notice that when your life flourishes, they orbit around your light. Yet when you fall into silence or struggle, they vanish into shadows. The moment you stop providing what benefits them, whether it's validation, status, or emotional comfort, their loyalty evaporates like smoke. Real spirituality demands that we discern energy, not words. Loyalty built on advantage is fragile, but loyalty built on truth endures. Carl Jung believed that people are drawn to symbols of power because those symbols reflect their unhealed desires. A fake friend does not follow your soul. They follow your strength because it gives them a sense of borrowed importance. They celebrate your wins only when those wins don't outshine them. They speak of support, but secretly compete. This is why Jung said, we must not project our values onto others. We must observe them. Watch how someone behaves when you have nothing to offer. Do they still listen when you are quiet? Do they still respect your boundaries when you stop accommodating their expectations? The spiritual path invites you to look beyond appearances, to see loyalty as a mirror reflecting integrity rather than emotion. Spiritual growth means accepting that not everyone who smiles at you stands with you. Many admire the light, but few can handle the heat that comes with it. When you begin to grow, awaken, or step into your power, those who are attached to your smaller self may feel threatened by your evolution. They may call you distant, arrogant, or changed, not realizing that your soul is simply outgrowing the vibration of dependency and deceit. Jung's wisdom teaches us that every relationship mirrors a lesson. Fake friends remind you to trust your intuition more deeply and to rely on proof rather than promises. They test your ability to see through illusion and to detach without resentment. In doing so, you reclaim your energy and rise to a higher state of awareness. Loyalty, then, becomes less about attachment and more about alignment. Those who are meant for you will not need constant proof of your worth. They will recognize your spirit because it resonates with theirs. Their presence will feel peaceful, not performative. True loyalty supports your spiritual growth, even when it challenges comfort. It remains steady through change and honest through silence. The deeper message of Jung's insight is that relationships built on spiritual integrity do not depend on what you can give. They depend on who you are when everything external fades. So observe who claps when you win and who stays when you lose. Build trust on actions that repeat, not on words that echo. Let your spirituality teach you that loyalty, without sincerity, is just strategy disguised as care. In the end, you are not here to be liked. You are here to live in truth. And truth, in its quiet power, always reveals who truly walks beside you. Remember, loyalty isn't measured by words, but by consistent actions that align with truth. As Carl Jung taught, real friends stand firm even when your light exposes their shadows. Are you ready to recognize who's truly loyal to your soul's journey? Comment below. I'm ready to see the truth. 3. Signs of fake friendship. Fake friends are masters of disguise. They appear supportive on the surface, yet their intentions often run deep beneath false smiles and convenient words. Carl Jung's spiritual wisdom helps us see beyond the illusion, to recognize the subtle energy shifts that expose who is truly aligned with our growth and who is merely pretending. One of the first signs is over-flattery, excessive, insincere praise that feels good but serves a hidden purpose. They flatter you not out of admiration, but to lower your guard, to make you dependent on their validation. They study your insecurities and use your desire to be seen as a way to influence you. A genuine friend will tell you the truth even when it stings, but a fake one will tell you what you want to hear just to keep control. As Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. When you awaken spiritually, you start to notice that not every compliment comes from love. Some come from strategy. Then comes the illusion of vague support. These are the people who show up when life is bright, but disappear the moment darkness falls. They are quick to celebrate your victories, but nowhere to be found when you're struggling. When things go wrong, their silence becomes deafening. This absence exposes their truth. They were never there for your soul, only for your spotlight. In moments of crisis, true loyalty doesn't need to be asked. It reveals itself naturally. Spiritual awakening sharpens your awareness, allowing you to see who stands beside you when there's nothing left to gain. Another clear sign is passive sabotage. Those subtle words disguised as concern that slowly corrode your confidence. Fake friends will plant doubts in your mind while pretending to care. They'll say, "I just don't want you to get disappointed," or "I'm only saying this because I care." But their tone hides envy, not empathy. Their energy drips with comparison, and their advice often steers you away from your purpose. Jung taught that everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves, and that truth applies here too. Their jealousy reflects their unhealed wounds, and their criticism is often a mirror of their own limitations. The most chilling sign, however, is shifting energy. Pay attention to how they act when you succeed. Do they celebrate you with genuine joy, or do their smiles fade when you shine? You can feel the sudden distance, the awkward silence, the subtle tension when your life begins to move forward. Their energy changes because your growth reminds them of their stagnation. Your light unconsciously threatens their comfort. In moments like this, Carl Jung's insight becomes clear. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls. Fake friends can't handle your evolution because it forces them to confront the parts of themselves they've ignored. That's why true spiritual wisdom teaches us to watch patterns, not promises. Words can deceive, but energy cannot. Consistency is the real language of loyalty. When someone's energy constantly shifts, when their support feels conditional, when their presence depends on what you can offer, that is your warning sign. Protect your peace by listening to the unspoken. The goal isn't to judge others, but to discern who truly matches your frequency. You don't need to chase love that feels heavy or defend yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Observe their actions. Trust what your spirit feels. And remember that discernment is the highest form of self-respect. In the end, fake loyalty always reveals itself, not through words, but through changing behavior. If this message speaks to your soul, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Your journey towards spiritual wisdom and learning to recognize real from fake continues with every lesson. 4. Power through observation, not emotion. A true master of spirituality and spiritual awakening never reacts from emotion, but from awareness. Carl Jung taught that power is found in observation, not reaction. When betrayal strikes, it's not your job to prove your innocence or to fight for clarity. It's your task to watch, to learn, and to understand who people truly are behind the mask. Fake friends often speak softly, but their actions scream. They mirror loyalty only until it no longer benefits them. And when your light begins to outshine their shadow, that's when the truth surfaces. Jung's words echo through the soul. An open enemy wounds the body. A fake friend wounds the mind. That is why the spiritually awakened don't expose others with anger. They expose them through patience. You don't need revenge. You need only time. And time reveals all hidden motives. Those who are walking the path of spiritual awakening know that not everyone around them will celebrate their growth. Some are drawn to your light simply because it gives warmth to their coldness, but they never intend to rise with you. Jung's insight into human behavior teaches us that the unconscious mind always leaks through action. So while fake friends may disguise themselves through affection, their energy never lies. You will feel it before you see it. A subtle discomfort, an unexplained unease after speaking with them, a heaviness in your chest, all are signals from your intuition trying to warn you. The awakened soul doesn't dismiss these signs. They know energy never deceives. So, rather than confronting or accusing, you quietly test loyalty. You share a harmless piece of information, then step back and observe where it travels. A true friend will protect it with silence. A false one will trade it for attention. Through this awareness, you reclaim your emotional power, no longer controlled by manipulation, no longer blinded by illusion. To live with spiritual wisdom is to master emotional neutrality. The immature soul reacts immediately, driven by pain and ego. The evolved soul observes calmly, guided by discernment. Emotional control does not mean suppression. It means clarity. It's the sacred balance between feeling everything deeply, yet responding with composure. Jung believed that the greatest strength lies in detachment, the art of seeing without absorbing. You begin to understand that your energy is sacred, and not everyone deserves access to it. When people show you who they are, you no longer need to debate their intentions. You watch, accept, and distance yourself gracefully. Your silence becomes your armor, and your observation becomes your teacher. Every betrayal becomes a mirror reflecting your growth. Every disappointment becomes a spiritual test to refine your discernment, and every false friend becomes a lesson in self-respect. This is the heart of spirituality, not revenge, not bitterness, but evolution. You stop trying to be understood by those committed to misunderstanding you. You stop seeking loyalty in those who are loyal only to their needs. You no longer beg for truth because you live in truth. Jung's chilling wisdom reminds you that the moment you stop reacting, you start reclaiming your freedom. When you detach, you begin to see clearly. When you observe, you begin to heal. And when you rise above emotional games, you awaken to the profound realization that no one can truly betray you, only reveal themselves. In that awareness lies your ultimate power. 5. Strategic distance, protection. In spirituality and spiritual growth, true protection often comes through distance. Carl Jung understood that the moment people know too much about your plans, emotions, or vulnerabilities, they gain subtle power over you. The more predictable you are, the easier it becomes for others to manipulate your choices, energy, and emotions. That's why spiritual wisdom teaches the importance of controlled access. You don't owe the world an explanation for every move you make. When you learn to keep your silence sacred, you begin to realize that mystery is not a weakness, it is your shield. The less they know, the less they can influence. You must learn to share less and observe more. Those who truly care will never demand to see what you protect. Jung's philosophy aligns with an ancient truth. Boundaries are not walls. They are energetic filters that separate what nourishes your spirit from what drains it. Distance weakens manipulation because manipulators thrive on information and proximity. When you limit what others can access your emotions, your goals, your private thoughts, you disarm their ability to play psychological games. Your power lies in the unknown, in the parts of yourself that remain beyond their reach. It's not about mistrusting everyone. It's about knowing that discernment is an act of self-love. Protecting your plans doesn't mean you're being secretive. It means you're preserving your destiny from premature exposure. Even in leadership and workplaces, this truth remains vital. Like King Louis XI, who divided influence and rotated trust so no one person ever held complete power, you must understand that dependence creates vulnerability. When one person holds too much emotional or professional leverage, imbalance forms and control begins. To grow spiritually is to distribute your trust wisely, never out of fear, but out of awareness. Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." That's why you must consciously choose who holds emotional access to you, who hears your dreams, and who deserves your vulnerability. Those who seek to manipulate often disguise themselves as confidants. They study your weaknesses, mirror your emotions, and feed your ego until they have a hold on your energy. But once you create distance, once they can't read your every reaction or predict your next step, they lose control. Silence, unpredictability, and calm detachment become your armor. This is where spiritual growth deepens, not through constant connection, but through wise separation. It's realizing that peace is not something others give you. It's something you protect through discipline and self-respect. In your journey of spiritual awakening, learn to move with quiet strength. Speak when necessary, act with intention, and allow distance to reveal who truly values you. Those who are aligned with your energy will never fear your silence. They will respect it. And those who demand constant access only fear losing their influence. The more you grow, the more sacred your solitude becomes, because that is where your energy resets and your clarity returns. To live with spiritual wisdom is to understand that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is step back, not to abandon, but to protect your peace, your focus, and your soul's purpose. When you start setting firm boundaries, You're not losing people. You're protecting your peace. Comment, I protect my energy below to affirm your spiritual strength and alignment. 6. Prevention is power. Prevention is power. And when it comes to protecting your peace, hesitation can be your downfall. You must never wait for betrayal to fully unfold, because once deceit begins to show, it's already too late. When something in your spirit feels off, trust it. That's not paranoia. It's spiritual wisdom whispering that your energy is being misused. Carl Jung once said, "Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darknesses of other people." And that truth runs deep when it comes to friendships. When someone starts to disturb your inner balance, it's not about being cold or suspicious. It's about listening to your higher self. Acting quickly and silently is not cruelty. It's protection. Fake friends feed on your hesitation, on your need to explain, to fix, to give them another chance. But true awakening means realizing that peace never asks you to shrink yourself to keep others comfortable. When deceit is suspected, do not confront, argue, or demand an apology. Simply withdraw your energy, cut their access to you, and move in silence. Your peace does not need an announcement. As the saying goes, a wise man does at once what the fool does at last. To act fast is to honor your intuition. Carl Jung taught that the human shadow hides in smiles, small compliments, and quiet envy. Not everyone who stands beside you wishes you well. Some admire you only because they want to study you, to mimic your light, to absorb your strength until you no longer serve their purpose. And when they feel your growth threatens their illusion of control, they turn against you subtly through words, energy, and distance. But you must not lower yourself to meet their level. Observe, detach, protect. This is how spiritually awakened souls survive in a world where betrayal often wears a friendly face. Prevention means mastering perception. It's the ability to see through charm, to sense misalignment long before harm reaches you. It's the wisdom of feeling energy rather than believing appearances. Spiritual wisdom teaches that discernment is not judgment. It is clarity. It's understanding that not everyone can walk with you on your journey of awakening. Carl Jung reminded us that relationships mirror what is within us, and that sometimes the unease you feel around someone is your subconscious recognizing danger before your mind does. So when your spirit grows heavy around a person, listen. Don't explain it away. Don't call it overthinking. Protect your energy as sacred ground. The moment you release those who secretly root against you, you open space for those who genuinely celebrate your evolution. Prevention is not fear. It is maturity. It's choosing alignment over attachment, truth over illusion, clarity over chaos. Love without respect is manipulation. Kindness without discernment is self-betrayal. And as Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Don't call betrayal fate. Call it awareness. Protecting your peace before the wound is not weakness, it's wisdom. When you act with clarity, your silence becomes your sword. Your distance becomes your strength, and your peace becomes your power. 7. The power of secrecy and silence. Carl Jung understood the hidden strength behind silence, the kind that does not demand attention, but commands it effortlessly. In spirituality and spiritual awakening, silence is not weakness. It is control, composure, and sacred protection. When you speak less, you reveal less, and that gives you the power to direct how others perceive you. Jung guarded information as if it were a weapon, not out of fear, but out of wisdom, because he knew that mystery makes the mind restless. People crave to know more about what they cannot fully understand, and that curiosity shifts power in your favor. When you refuse to overshare, you create a psychological distance that forces others to respect your presence without needing constant explanation. Every word you speak is energy, and every secret you reveal is a piece of power you give away. Jung's insight reminds us that not everyone who listens deserves to know what moves within your mind. Some people listen only to use your truth against you, while others are drawn to your openness merely to satisfy their curiosity, not to understand your soul. In spiritual awakening, silence becomes a divine shield that preserves your inner peace from unnecessary noise. When you choose to speak only when it adds value, you're no longer reacting, you're leading. This is the art of self-mastery that Jung so often hinted at, to control perception by controlling revelation. The less you say, the more weight your words carry. Silence also sharpens your perception. When you stop speaking to fill the air, you start listening to what's truly being said between the lines. Jung believed that human beings reveal their unconscious through their reactions, not their words. So when you stay silent, you begin to see the truth of others, their intentions, their fears, their manipulation without them realizing it. In that moment, silence turns from stillness into strategy. You're no longer participating in emotional chaos. You're observing it with clarity. That is the real mark of spiritual awakening, not in how loudly you defend your truth, but in how calmly you guard it. The greatest illusion is that silence is emptiness. In reality, silence is energy condensed. It creates curiosity, and curiosity creates power. People become unsettled when they can't read your next move, and in that uncertainty, you hold the upper hand. You don't need to fight for attention when your stillness already speaks volumes. As Jung once said, knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darkness of other people. When you keep parts of yourself hidden, you are not being deceptive, you are being wise. You are protecting the sacred space of your spirit from those who have not yet earned the right to access it. True spirituality is not about exposure, it's about elevation. Silence aligns you with your inner knowing, where intuition replaces impulse. It teaches you to observe without reacting, to understand without explaining, and to shine without announcing. This is the quiet confidence of those who walk the path of awareness. They do not seek to be understood. They seek to be at peace. And in that peace, they become unpredictable, untouchable, and profoundly powerful. 8. Turning betrayal into power. Betrayal exposes truth and hidden motives, revealing what words could not. It's not merely an act of deceit, but a spiritual initiation, forcing you to see beyond illusions and identify who truly belongs in your life. Through the lens of spirituality and spiritual growth, betrayal is never meant to destroy you. It's designed to refine you. It teaches you the sacred art of discernment, showing you where your trust was placed too loosely and where your energy was being drained by false loyalty. When someone betrays you, their mask falls off, and what remains is raw truth. As Carl Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Betrayal brings the unconscious motives of others into light, and though it hurts, It liberates you from false attachments that were never meant to follow you into your next chapter. The first rule when betrayal strikes is to respond strategically, never emotionally. Emotions can cloud judgment and make you reactive when what you truly need is reflection. Think of Steve Jobs. After being ousted from Apple, the very company he founded. He didn't drown in anger or resentment. Instead, he redirected his energy into creation, founding Next and revitalizing Pixar, eventually returning to Apple and reclaiming his place as a visionary leader. That is the power of turning pain into purpose. He didn't just come back, he came back stronger, sharper, and spiritually grounded in his own worth. Betrayal can be the same catalyst for you. It pushes you to rebuild yourself from a higher level of consciousness, where external validation no longer defines your direction. To grow spiritually from betrayal, start by studying it without bias. Where did the cracks begin? Were there subtle signs you ignored because your heart hoped for loyalty that wasn't real? Perhaps the betrayal only exposed what was already broken, a dynamic built on convenience, not authenticity. When you analyze without bitterness, you transform victimhood into wisdom. You begin to understand that betrayal doesn't come to show you who others are. It comes to remind you who you are. You are not the version that needs everyone's approval. You are the version that stands firm in truth, even if it means standing alone for a while. From this point forward, protect your energy with higher standards. Building your relationships like sacred temples, entry requires integrity, not familiarity. Measure people not by their intensity, but by their consistency. Watch how they behave when you succeed. Notice if they celebrate your growth or subtly compete with it. Loyalty isn't loud, it's steady. Those who gossip to you will gossip about you. Those who stay neutral when you're attacked are silently aligned with those who envy you. When betrayal happens, it doesn't end your story, it edits your cast. Transforming betrayal into power means redirecting your pain toward creation, not retaliation. Instead of venting, channel that energy into purpose. Work out, write, study, build, pray, meditate, whatever restores your spiritual center. Forgiveness is not permission for re-entry. It's closure for your own peace. When you forgive, you reclaim control over your emotional landscape. As you do, you begin to realize that betrayal was not punishment. It was protection. It was God's way of removing people who couldn't breathe at the altitude you're ascending to. So take the lesson and make it sacred. Turn your reaction into reflection, your loss into leverage, your heartbreak into higher standards. Betrayal will always test your strength, but it will also reveal your destiny. Just as Steve Jobs turned exile into dominance, you too can turn disappointment into divine direction. The key is to stay calm, stay strategic, and stay rooted in your spirituality. Remember, betrayal is not the end of your story. It's the turning point where your spiritual growth begins to shape your true power. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Remember, as Carl Jung once said, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. The same courage applies when recognizing who truly stands beside you and who only pretends to. Stay aware, stay authentic, and protect your peace, because not everyone who smiles with you walks with you in truth. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to our channel, Spiritual Wisdom. Turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our upcoming videos filled with insights to deepen your spiritual wisdom and strengthen your journey of spiritual awakening.